so it begins.
Our intrepid investigator, Frank Wanston.
This is season 7. This is a premiere of season 7, Chris.
It's a mystical number as well.
I'm sure there's
got to be. I'm sure there's some connection to the Cthulhu mythos, to the number 7. There's got to be.
There has to be. Well, we'll find out together. Which means you're going to die in episode 7 of season 7.
No, we're going to die in episode 77.
Let's see. I know we might. Guys, this is a new season. This is a new season of Tight 10 on Time, which this year we have. This season this year. Imagine if we did that.
Once a year. No, do one season that lasts a year. Just keep trying the same book for a year, and if we haven't cleared it by
yeah. So season 7 is season 7. We're taking a bit of a departure. We're not. This isn't a fantasy setting. We've done this once before where we did a sci-fi setting, but this is cosmic horror.
Oh, my favorite genre of anything.
This is based on a kind of Lovecraftian style horror, which Chris and I are massive fans of. I'm genuinely excited. I know it's difficult to tell from my face. I know this is the biggie. We've got this one's slightly more convoluted, slightly more complicated as well.
Yeah, it's both more convoluted and more complicated, and even a hint more complex.
It's the Holy Trinity. Yep, absolutely. So what I'm going to do is we'll try to make it as interesting and we don't want to make it dry, but I realise that opposite of that we're going to try and make it as wet as possible.
We're going to make it as sloppy as you like.
Sloppy and wet.
Which would fit the genre. Big, sloppy, wet tentacles. And also previously here, are you not paying ferry rates? This is how well we get to know our fans, that we will know their actual schedules.
Lucy wants us to be a 15-minute show on account of the fact that she's on a ferry, and we'll part of the way through this episode potentially have to start paying maritime rates to watch.
Yeah, and of course, as we all know, maritime law is not bound by still on the fucking dock. Perfect. Hey, the best case scenario here is your ferry is delayed by an hour.
That would be
you
fantastic.
Get to watch the full show. Well, the full us Jenning. Frank Winston.
Frank Winston. Oh, you've already changed it, yeah? Because
I changed it before we went live.
This one is slightly different. The rules for this one are slightly more complex. I'm going to kind of take Chris through it. I gave him a bit of a heads up a couple of days ago. I'm going to take him through it. We're going to basically chat about it. We're going to start a prologue, and then I'm actually genuinely worried that I'm so excited about this one that we're not going to do our usual 40 minutes of shite first.
Yeah, we'll be too eager to get into the game, and then we'll discover that that's more interesting than us talking shite.
I know. I just feel that although this is kind of the idea we had for this show was for you to be doing a quest and for me to be guiding you through the quest and blah, blah, blah. And of course, we usually, in real terms, discovered that we usually do like to, even though we're in constant communication all week, we do like to have a bit of a 45-minute catch-up first that we anticipate everyone would be interested in.
We have a 45-minute catch-up on your time.
Oh, absolutely.
Do it on our own time. Trying to find the best lighting. The best lighting for cosmic horror. And I can't find it.
But this time I'm just kind of going, we do talk. There's probably only about one other person in the world that I talk to more than I talk to you. And they're not interested in doing this online shit.
Your cat still is your best friend.
My cat still is my best friend, absolutely. So it's really, so we do talk quite a lot, and we still manage to, and we don't even talk about. This is a great thing. We don't even talk about the stuff that we then subsequently talk about on here. So we do all this kind of nonsense back and forth all week, and then we come on and then we talk about more nonsense rather than maybe kind of reiterating nonsense that we may have kind of come across during the week. We don't even do that. So it's just kind of, but this time, I mean, I know that we're nearly 6 minutes in and I'm already getting antsy, but this time I almost kind of want to go, let's get immersed.
Let's
And
get
then
immersed. But also, we do need to address one aspect of the format that we have discussed, but we didn't ever actually come to a decision on, which is previously when we took a departure from Type 10 on Titan, because Ian Livingstone's books are set on Titan, we went to Type 10 at Warp 10 because it was a space theme. And I proposed the name Type 10 on, Type 10 on Tentacle. Or Tight Tentacle?
I think
Tight Tentacle's better.
I think it was Type 10 with tentacles you came out with. And I actually nearly wrote that and then thought we'll go Type 10 ... tacles. That's kind of what I sent you a screenshot. We can change it.
Tickles. Yeah, I like Type 10 tickles.
Yep. So that's what we'll go with for season 7.
Other things that made it to the drawing board was Tight Tindalus because of the Hounds of Tindalus, but that was written by August Derleth, not Lovecraft.
And I will say that I think this is pretty much. I don't think that. I mean, any kind of Lovecraft enthusiast will know that there's obviously the kind of original kind of Lovecraftian stuff, and then there's the kind of outer mythos with Derleth and all that. And you've had the likes of Stephen King being involved in kind of.
I didn't even know Stephen King was involved.
Neil Gaiman, has done. So obviously it's kind of created a kind of wider narrative sort of thing, but it was definitely H.P. Lovecraft kind of created some of these stories, and then people tried to create a kind of mythos.
They tried to make sense of what was basically just weird tales. Yeah, the genre type, which is a fun genre, just really crazy stories.
So from that perspective, So from that perspective, I mean, and I think you can probably enjoy this if you're like kind of hardcore kind of Lovecraft fan, or if you're aware of the fact that people have attempted to make a wider narrative on the back of it. I think that's fine, because even within kind of Lovecraftian stuff, he did create some elements of crossover and blah blah blah. I mean that's not apparent.
Yog-Sothoth come up a few times and all sorts of things. So it was definitely its own contained like little universe, but
for sure
it didn't. I don't think it ever needed it as fleshed out as it ended up being. I think part of the mystery goes whenever you put names to things, and
one of the good things about kind of Lovecraftian horror is the fact that as human beings we're not supposed to be able to make any rational sense of it.
Yeah, it's very much the point.
I suppose a group of people then trying to create a kind of rational narrative behind it. But Lucy's kind of going, thank God I'm not paying maritime rates for this. But anyway, so that's the kind of so kind of cosmic horror, Lovecraftian horror, I suppose, to an extent, is horror that's almost potentially beyond human understanding and usually has a human protagonist trying to make sense of it.
And I often say, losing their mind in the process.
Yeah, you're losing their mind or you're losing their lives usually. So I suppose, Chris, this will probably be really good for you on account of the fact that every quest we've done so far, you have either lost your mind or lost your life. So, I mean, this is kind of set you up for this.
Yeah, if anything, my whole life has been leading up to this moment, to this campaign. Moment.
Yep. So anyway, so we'll get started. I'll kind of try to make the rules as interesting as possible. We'll kind of rattle through them. I've kind of read them out to you. I'll let the kind of viewers aware of it. We'll get through it, and then we'll just kick off.
Yeah, let's absolutely go for it.
And then as we get more comfortable with the idea of the set, we can do our 40 minutes of nonsense and kind of subsequent episodes. But I'm going to kind of
if we even want to.
Absolutely. So this season is going to be based on The House in Sentinel Hill by Graham Plowman. So here we go.
Plowman, that's a great name. I also will say I've had a wee think about it, and the initial instinct is to play or voice or whatever, Frank Winston, as if he was Winston from Still Game. But I actually think I respect the genre too much to do that, and I'm going to have to play him like a grizzled noir detective.
I absolutely hear you. So I'm going to kind of take us through the kind of, going to take us quickly through the rules. You obviously got screenshots of the rules, and I'll try and make it as interesting as possible.
I know what's up.
We'll basically get your stats and shit on the go, and then we'll start the quest. What I will say is there's a wee bit at the beginning, which I'm just going to read out to you here, which says, so this is a wee kind of beginning quote that I'm going to read out to you here. And it says, out of corruption, horrid life springs, and the dull scavengers of earth wax, crafty to vex it and swell monstrous to plague it. Giant holes are digged where earth's pores ought to suffice, and things have learnt to walk that ought to crawl. H.P. Lovecraft.
Damn.
So there you go. So first off, Graham Plowman, which is a first, gives special thanks to the people that tested the game, and he hopes that their sanity returns in time.
Wow, this is the first book we've had where it has admitted people actually tested it.
Yeah, people absolutely. So he's a tester. He's also composed a musical score to play along to this, which obviously we probably can't play.
I actually did have a listen to that. It's some very great stuff. It's like 2 hour long videos of just atmospheric music to listen to while you read it. So if you are of a mind, open up YouTube and search, what's the name?
Graham Plowman composer. So I'm going to probably put a link at the end of I'll put a link after this episode to the YouTube link to this, and then people can give it a listen and then see if it lends to the atmosphere in any way, shape, or form.
Before we start, have you got, off the top of your head, a favourite Lovecraft quote? I've got one, I think. There's a great quote from, I think it's The Call of Cthulhu, which is about Cthulhu. It might not be in Call of Cthulhu, but it's about Cthulhu in Relay, and it's that is not dead, which can eternal lie, and with strange aeons, even death may die. Which is an excellent test phrase for testing a microphone pop shield, because it's got a lot of does and pers in it.
I like it.
It's an absolute.
No, I've just actually downloaded. I've just downloaded the Lovecraft Society. Lovecraft Society have done this fantastic 70-hour, this 70-hour audio version of all of kind of Lovecraft's works, and this time they've included the kind of stuff that he co-wrote with other people.
Oh, very nice.
So it was like £8 on Audible.
Brilliant. There's also a band that I really like called I Monster, who you might know as Daydream. They did Daydream in Blue, and they also did the theme to Shaun of the Dead. But they have an album that's called A Dollop of HP, and it is readings of H.P. Lovecraft stories off the top of my head. Dagon, the music of Eric Zahn, Nemesis, the poem. It's fucking brilliant. They just did music to backdrop over it. It is amazing. Cool. So it's a few Lovecraft stories, just spoken word, but with like the music of Eric Zahn is all about a composer playing basically to the entities in the cosmos. And when it gets to that bit, the music goes crazy. It's absolutely amazing.
I've got certain kind of stuff that I think I'm going to drip feed over the next few weeks. Probably.
What we get into the mood.
Yeah, I'm just worried I kind of shoot my entire Lovecraft load tonight, and then but there's definite shit that I don't think I've ever told another living soul. We'll wait till there's a week where I'm absolutely pissed out my face, and you just say, "Do you remember, John? A few weeks ago, you said there was some kind of Lovecraft related stuff that you never told another soul," and then we'll get into it then. And
we'll have to put down the blinds and light a candle.
We'll have to, absolutely.
In fact.
Right, let's do this. Right, so anyway, I'm going to read, right, so basically a wee bit, so the year's 1926, and you're going to be playing Frank Winston, who's a writer and journalist working for the Arkham Gazette newspaper. Your main area of expertise lies in unusual stories and happenings that nobody else in the paper wishes to write about.
I just blew the candle out with my nose. Sorry, go on.
Unexplained events and tales of local folklore and superstition. So you've basically got a chance, even though that's your kind of central kind of ethos here. You've got the chance to kind of customize Frank's abilities, right? So you're going to investigate. You're going to try and survive horrors that come, and are going to affect your physical and mental health, right? So basically, we need to start kind of doing checks for your skills and attributes. And I did send this to you in advance, in the hope that it would kind of speed us slightly along this. But your abilities are a way for you to interact with the world. For example, being able to spot hidden items, sneak past a dangerous foe, or even fight an enemy. Your attributes are dexterity, stealth, health, and composure. Your skills are perception, stealth, and combat. Through the investigation, you'll be able to use these skills and attributes to perform check rolls using the dice. So this is a little bit more complicated than your luck, your stamina, and your skill.
I've read all of this, but for the people at home,
so you'll determine the level of certain skills and attributes when creating your character. Your health and composure begin at 10, right? So get this written down if you haven't already.
I haven't.
Let's do it now.
A surface to write them.
Health 10, composure.
And I believe health is the physical condition, and composure is our mental condition.
Yep, absolutely.
2 health bars in this game.
Throughout the investigation, there's going to be check rolls that are required to perform certain tasks and discover clues, sneak and perhaps even prevent an imminent demise. So to place a check roll, you're going to have to roll 2d6 and apply specific modifiers that I will read out to you. They're going to be difficulty modifiers, and you basically have to roll something that's equal or less than the skill or attribute for the check. So if you've got like an extreme modifier, you need to roll 2 dice and add 3. And if you get something very easy, it's like -2. So there's massive extremes that you're potentially going to face. Lucy's just informed us that she's on the boat.
Oh, on the boat, soon to depart.
So there's going to be modifiers. This is going to be slightly more extreme than other stuff you've. A
lot of Lovecraft tales start with someone getting on a boat.
That's true. So as I said, we got a 10 health and 10 composure. Your top is 10, your bottom 0. And you can never go above the initial value of 10. And imagine if you fall to 0, something really bad will happen. We will get to that. So health represents your physical condition, and composure represents your mental condition. As I said, various times you're going to lose health points, or you may be asked to make a composure check against your current composure level due to the frightening encounters or situations. Here's hoping. Imagine if you just read through this and nothing scary happened.
Absolutely nothing, just a walk in the park.
So there's going to be certain penalties. If your health falls to 6 or less, then it's going to have an effect on your dexterity. This is all very convoluted compared to stuff you've done before. But I'll keep a note. I'll keep a note of this.
I think I've already got it. I had a read through. It's not as complicated as Dungeons and Dragons. It's about halfway between.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm just aware of the fact that we're going to have to. There might be points where viewers are kind of going, "Why is this dexterity dropping there?" So we'll definitely keep on top of this. There's obviously we're going to talk more about combat when combat happens, but when you do your 1-to-1 combat, it's quite similar to stuff we've done before. When you do potentially combatants against more than one person, that's where it gets slightly more complex, and that'll be quite exciting. You also have a thing called mythos points.
We do.
There's a permanent record of your investigation. So you're going to be awarded or have mythos points removed from you during your play. This is slightly different, and death is not the end of this quest.
Death is not the end. That's a
Death is not the end of this quest, but
that's a
dying
great.
will.
It's a great song by Nick Cave and the Bad Scenes.
Absolutely. So your mythos points at the beginning are 0. So you get mythos points at the beginning of 0, and basically you need to try and get your mythos points as high as possible. That's more important, I suppose, than life.
19 luck. Day 3. 19 luck. Oh, is it still roll the 2 dice? Are there more 2 trump?
I'm assuming that's top
trump.
trump.
There are more top trump categories. We now have strength.
Strength,
which is our physical brawn. Dex, which is our manual manipulation. We got stealth for sneaking. And if I recall, the lower your composure gets, the higher your combat skills get, because you go and fucking ape shit.
You go a bit mental, absolutely. So the key is to get as many mythos points as possible for the end of the quest, if you will.
The quest. I don't know. Do you know what? I'd say this isn't a quest. This is an investigation.
As an investigation.
This is an investigation. Anything in the Cthulhu world is an investigation, not a quest.
Fantastic. There's a little hi, Lucy, from Edward.
We're here too, Edward.
We are here too. I know it says no hi, John or Chris. It's just right on it, hi, Lucy. Right, so you're going to start your investigation with a satchel. There you go. And it contains your journal, newspaper clippings from the Newport Examiner that have led you to the house, a flashlight, and some cash.
Very good.
That's kind of what you're starting
cash, not gold coins for once. We actually have gold
coins. It doesn't even tell you specifically how much cash you've got. It just tells you that you got a satchel with a journal.
A satchel, that's good. I'll keep my backpack in my satchel.
Exactly. Newspaper clippings, a flashlight, which will probably come in quite handy.
Yeah. Well, you're going to want to use it sparingly. You don't actually want to see everything in this kind of universe. Absolutely. It's almost better to just go blind. I'm sure. I don't know if we've ever discussed it on here before. Me and you have definitely discussed it, which is in the Call of Cthulhu tabletop game. Hey, thanks. Thank you very much, Lucy. Always appreciate a share.
That's why Edward's jumped on. So he's a friend of Lucy. So that's why he said hello to Lucy and doesn't care or know who we are.
But in the Call of Cthulhu, there's investigators, of course, and you can pick which investigator to play. And they have stats, not dissimilar to this game. But one of the investigators called Hank or something like that, his special ability, because all the investigators have a particular special ability. His special ability is that he is so stupid that he doesn't understand when he's seen, like, people take insanity damage in that game from, like, looking at a Shoggoth, for instance.
Yeah.
Whereas he's too dumb. Takes less because he's too stupid. So one of the example that I remember, I think Brennan Lee Mulligan gave was a hound of Tendalos appears and it's like, that dog is sick. Someone's going to get that dog to the vet. It's like, no, that's an eldritch horror.
So I assumed that Hank's special ability was going to be that he was never hungry.
Hank Marvin.
So basically,
it is known.
Don't ruin it.
Go on, let's go.
Don't ruin it. So anyway, so you have to note those down, blah blah blah. You potentially need to keep hold. You basically anytime you get clues, you need to write them down. So on your investigation, this is where it gets quite convoluted. We'll just rattle through this before we start the quest because I'm aware of the fact people will probably be bored. You've got attributes and skills. You've got base values of things. You can spend up to 6 points updating certain skills.
Oh yeah,
you've got dexterity 6. You've got a strength of 6. You've got a perception of 6. You've got a stealth of 6, and you've got a combat of 6. So that's 5 different things, and you can spend up to 6 points.
All right, okay.
Improving these up to an initial value of 8.
So right off the bat, can I spend some points here?
You can. You have to.
Brilliant. So I would like to spend put 2 into stealth right away.
Right.
So that
Okay.
puts us up to 8, that's the maximum, isn't it?
Yep.
And then we have. Do you know what? I had a list of all the skills up on my phone, and then I got distracted.
So you've got 4 more points that you can use.
4 more points.
Exciting, guys. I know we're trying to make this as exciting as possible.
Who was that? I didn't even see the comment.
No, I'm just saying. I'll do a sexy dance.
Yeah, you keep it moving. Do a body roll.
I'll keep moving. Well, we try more. So your stealth is 8.
So my stealth's 8. Let's put
4 more points to use on either dexterity, strength, perception, or combat.
Put us 1 in perception. Put us 1 in dexterity. That leaves us with 2 left.
Yep.
Do you know what? I'm going to say put another 1 in dex and another 1 in perception. Fuck strength and combat.
So you're going to do dexterity 8, perception 8, strength, combat 6, and stealth 8.
Correct. No, I can explain my thinking about this if you want.
No. Do you know what? You can if you want.
So I'm aware that the mechanics, that the lower your composure gets, that your strength and combat get boosted. I'm aware that when your health goes down, your dex also goes down. So it's good to start with a high dex. And if your stealth is good enough and your perception is good enough, if you can see things and you can sneak by them, then hopefully you shouldn't have to fight. And I'll spend 4 points doing clumsiness. If your perception is still high enough, you shouldn't have to fight. But if your perception is also high, you're likely to see something mental. And if you see something mental, your composure goes down and your strength goes up.
That's good thinking.
It's all worked out.
I mean, you know, I'm with you, right? So that's pretty much where we're at. As you mentioned, you've got a health of 10, you've got a composure of 10. Right now, you're healthy and you're sane. And as that drops, you'll become less sane or you'll become less strong, and that will have an impact on certain attributes. So as you lose strength, you'll lose combat, you'll lose dexterity. As you become less sane, you're going to lose perception, you're going to lose stealth. But in certain aspects, the more difficult you become, you're going to become more combative because you turn Glaswegian, right? You're going to turn into. There's going to be a point where you're so insane that you're going to turn into an absolute nut job.
What would your IRL stats be? My stealth would be okay. My combat's not great. My strength's also not great. My perception's terrible. And my dexterity's not bad. So I got stealth and dexterity, I think. I don't know. I haven't tested that in a long time. Although I do sneak around a lot as a rule on rooftops and flipping through doorways and stuff. So I'm not.
I've got a health of 1, a composure of 1, dexterity, strength, perception, stealth, and combat 1. But I do have a satchel.
Yes, I have a satchel.
And if I looked for long enough, I would probably find a flashlight somewhere.
Probably. That's the sun that shines out your arse.
I've got a flashlight, and it's got a sticker on it saying to vote yes for Scottish independence. So it's an old flashlight.
It's an old flashlight, but it's got a picture of the Proclaimers on it.
It's got an old flashlight, but I still potentially agree with the ethos behind it. And I would be hard pressed right now because I don't get paid till Thursday to find anything resembling cash.
Yeah, I'm the same. I don't get paid till Friday. So
I get paid. I get paid on Thursday. I won't have any money on Friday.
Yeah, it'll all go on.
I'll get paid on Thursday.
Probably be spent on mystery beer, especially as we're in.
We didn't even discuss mystery beers.
Oh, we need to put that to
Do
bed.
we need to discuss mystery beers now before we start, or?
Oh, let's leave it for after. We got a good thing going. Let's roll.
I get the feeling that mystery beers might that might be a running theme. We might never find out about the mystery beers. I know about the mystery beers.
I mean, I'm dying to know, but at the same time, I'm also dying to get into this other mystery. We got 2 mysteries right now, and one of them's cosmic horror.
Two
One of
mysteries
them's
going.
beer.
There's the mystery beers, and we're about to get into some serious Lovecraftian horror. So that's pretty much where we're at, right? So you've got a health of 10, a composure of 10, you've got 0 mythos points, you got a satchel containing a journal, newspaper clippings, flashlight, and cash. You got a dexterity of 8, strength of 6, perception of 8, a stealth of 8, and a combat of 6. We're fucking ready to go, mate.
We're ready to go, and I have a notepad for clues. I even brought a little notepad to take my clues on.
Lucy's now in the high seas. We should have maybe made this a pirate season for Lucy.
We did we not have a pirate season? Was the City of Thieves not supposed to be a bit piratey, or was there a pirate
it's a port.
Yeah, it's a pirate port, but we also died immediately.
We got
through the gate. As I recall, we got through a gate, turned left, met a dwarf who made stuff, left his house, walked down an alley, and then got shot. That was the entire campaign. That was the entire campaign. I wrote down that dwarf's name and then lost it. I have that dwarf's name somewhere. So
more stuff happened in an episode of Mad Men than happened in that entire season.
Yeah.
Speaking of somebody that loves Mad Men, it wasn't renowned for its quick plot points. Right, I'm gonna read the prologue out to you. I'm not even going to attempt to do it in a kind of 1920s Lovecraftian way. I'm just going to read that out in my normal accent.
Okay, I'll try and make up for that with how I voice Frank Winston.
Excellent. So we'll do that. I'll read the prologue out to you, and then this might be the fastest we've ever get started in a quest.
Yeah, I mean, I had those skills done immediately. I really thought it was going to take longer, but it was just, let's just do it.
We probably lost Edward already.
Probably. As soon as we lost Lucy, his reason to be here.
Lucy's still here.
Oh, wow.
Lucy's still here. She's probably paying through the nose now.
Jeez, oh.
But anyway, this is really weird because obviously I usually read this out in the second person.
Yeah, that's true. You do this.
Yeah.
So how does this work? Is this third?
And it will be read. It will be read out in the second person moving forward. But this starts in the first person. This prologue.
Oh,
so this is going to be me reading as you.
Damn, you're gonna have to do. You have to do my voice then. I was gonna do a Frank Winston reporting for, what was it? The Arkham Herald.
Well, I do that. I go, my name is Frank Winston.
Frank Winston, ace reporter, Scoops McLean.
I don't think I can do it justice.
They call me Scoops McLean back at the orphanage.
I'm going to do prologue. My name is Frank Winston. I'm a journalist, and the tale I'm about to tell you is true. I can barely comprehend what happened to me in that house and beyond. Disclaimer, Chris might not make it to the house. He is that shit. Any of yours, what happened to me in that house and beyond? You're kind of going, well, I mean, that's assuming that Chris even makes it.
It was my destiny to reach Sentinel Hill.
It was my destiny. I bet it's Chris we're talking about. Chris basically died as soon as he entered the City of Thieves.
I didn't last 2 turns. I didn't last two turns, and I was dead.
I fell out of character there.
Back in Frank Wilson. What's your name there, son? Enchanting.
We're both doing Frank Wilson.
Winston. Get it right. Get it right, you scum-sucking mollusk.
I try to forget every day. Every day, I try to hold my mind together. I thought back to that fateful day, many weeks prior, that I happened upon a newspaper clipping in the Miskatonic Library archives while researching for my column in the Arkham Gazette. The article.
So many references I'm getting.
So many references. Paragraph 2. The article was 10 years old. And I'm going to read this in a slightly different voice because it's an article now. Yesterday evening, Sergeant John O'Mahony of the Newport Police Department was called out on business up north to investigate a series of killings that have shocked the sleeping town of Durham. It has been reported that 3 bodies were discovered by the local Reverend Thomas Down in a house 5 miles west of the town, down in town. In his report, Sergeant O'Mahony has stated that the victims were members of the Turn family who had been residing in the house for 3 years before, having recently moved to the locale from Vermont. The locals say that they were decent folks, but certainly kept to themselves, with no known grievances with any other locals or persons known. Further to the investigation, Sergeant O'Mahony has revealed that only 3 of the 4 family members remain accounted for at this time, and a search, possibly a manhunt, is underway to find Edward Turn, the eldest son of 12 years.
I swear I will bring back Edward Turn, dead or alive.
At the gruesome scene, Jacob, the father, Melissa, the mother, and Sarah, the youngest child of 5 years, were all found with a strange puncture wound on their abdomen. And very little blood remaining.
My God, they drank it all.
There was no blood at the scene. The police would not elaborate further in this matter. The police are also looking for a stranger to the town who was seen acting suspiciously the day before the bodies were discovered. He wandered out of town on foot, seemingly dazed and confused, and avoided the locals. He had an unkempt appearance. It could be me. With some reporting it looked as though he'd been in an accident. Thus far, he has not presented himself for questioning, and the police would like to eliminate him from their inquiries. The house, which sits atop Sentinel Hill, named for its far-reaching view in all directions, is no stranger to bad tidings. It sat empty for 14 years prior to the events in 1899. It was previously seen for more gruesome murders, which saw a whole generation of a family wiped out by unknown killers. Could it be the same killers returning after a 17-year absence? Professor Albert Peabody of the Miskatonic University doesn't believe so, but his keen interest in the developing field of forensic science has led him to the house. He's aiding the police with their investigation. At his request, and by the order of the Newport Police Department, the house will not, turning a page there, be deemed habitable again. Also, after the initial investigations, Professor Peabody has asked that the house remain standing to preserve the crime scene. Forensic science may take years to mature, but when it does, we should be able to walk back into that building and study the evidence contained within its walls with new perspectives. One day, we may discover the truth.
All right, Hank. The last bit was all Hank. Sorry, can I just confirm some details? So, was it Edward Turn that went missing? One of the family members.
It was Edward Turn, who's 12 years old.
And then the man wasn't named, the one that was walking out into the road.
He's not been named.
Man looked injured. Survivor. He was a survivor, right?
They want to eliminate him from the inquiries. He was seen in the vicinity.
That stinks to high heaven.
I tried to contact Professor Peabody at the university, but he's been away on a research trip for years. An old friend of his, Professor George Stein, hadn't heard from him in all that time, but has remarked that Albert Peabody had initially been obsessed with that old case with the house for a long time, but eventually just lost interest in it and suggested to all to forget about his own pointless interest in this place. He remarked he was ashamed he wasted so much time in this worthless endeavor. Then one day, he just left the university grounds to travel for research. The university wasn't funding his trip, and no one can say where he went. There was no paper trail to follow. I decided to indulge my curiosity and plan a trip to Durham. As I mentioned, I write for the Arkham Gazette, with unsolved mysteries, folklore, and local legends being my main interest. My column, What Lies Beneath, was rather popular, and this tale seemed like quite a find. I felt compelled to see this place for myself. How I wish I never had such inclinations or morbid predilections. How I wish I had never found that accursed house on Sentinel Hill.
Oh, very good.
Here's
So
where we're at.
the old Lovecraft fanatics might be aware that Alfred Peabody was in the book At the Mountains of Madness, which involves them taking a small aircraft and having this drilling device that Lovecraft describes for, I swear to God, 3 pages. He talks about a drill for 3 pages, about how they're breaking. He was a big geologist.
Yeah.
And
And
that
the big racist.
he was a big racist as well. But that expedition to the Arctic was called the Peabody Expedition, which was organized by Alfred Peabody. So there you go.
See, just going to geek it up.
Yeah, I'm so ready for this. And
Let's
so,
do it. We need to try and keep it
Winston,
as well, because this is supposed to be a comedy show.
investigator at large. Although not very good at fighting, I'm more of a skinny, sort of sneaky kind of fella.
So we're going to start. I think there's going to be a point where you're going to, if there's ever an episode where you're kind of getting drunk, you're going to fall into Crichton.
Sirs.
Sir.
My Canadians, very close.
So here we go. So the quest begins 41 minutes in. Normally it's been 41 minutes of me talking shite about my day.
Yeah.
That's been 41 minutes of setup.
Pure high-octane setup.
Everyone else. This is why I always worry that the first episodes of every new season are usually quite dry, because we're usually rolling dice and shit.
Yeah.
But anyway, here we go. Question, about 18 minutes a question. Let's see if you survive. Imagine if this was so balls to the wall horror that you died right away.
God, well, this book does have a system for dying right away. I'm pretty sure it has a system for dying.
It does have a system for dying. You pretty much start again. So anyway, here we go. The year is 1926, September the 23rd, and the time. Wait a minute. Before we start, there we go.
Hey, thank you very much, John. Incredible reading. Incredible reading.
There we go. Yeah, don't. I'll get on. I'm already an arrogant fuck. I don't need shit like that. There you go. The year is 1927, September the 23rd, and the time is 4:45 p.m. The fading sun casts a grey silhouette across the crumbling road as your Chevrolet bumps and crunches its way through the falling leaves. The multicoloured tree line sways in the early fall breeze, with most of the leaves.
Cheap-ass Chevrolet suspension.
The roadside thickets and overhanging trees clip the side of your automobile every few feet. You hear cracks and snaps as the twigs that strayed too far break off or are snapped under the wheels. The town of Durham must not get many visitors, at least not many on this route. The birds are singing, however, and with chirps and songs aplenty, seemingly take no notice of your intrusion. You're thankful at least that the area is not silent, for if it weren't for the bird song, you fancy it be slightly foreboding to the outsider. You shrug off these fanciful thoughts and emerge from under the canopy of leaves. The trees thin out and become meadows extending far on both sides of the road. The tall grass sways in some, while others are clearly victim of the harvest, bare and flat. A beaten up old sign nailed to a thick post reads, Durham! Squinting through the glare of the low sun, you see the town up ahead. You enter the town and pull your vehicle into a garage. The sign over the place reads Pete's Fuel Depot. Just going to show you that here. Here's Pete's Fuel Depot.
God, I hope Pete's in. It was a long drive.
You don't need to fuel just yet. You've more than enough for the time being. You're looking for directions to Sentinel Hill before it gets too late. You'd hope to arrive Owls? Me Twin Peaks reference for people there. You'd hope to arrive hours earlier, but took a wrong turn in Kingsport. The garage has just one pump and looks a little run down. The paint is peeling from the wood-panelled walls, and there is no sign of any attendant. Stepping out of the automobile, you look up and down the street, thankful for the opportunity to stretch your legs. It's quiet. You spot an elderly lady shuffling along on the other side of the road, paying you no heed. There's not another soul around. Do you approach the old lady and ask for directions, or ignore the old woman and enter the garage, or shall I say garage, as we're in America?
A tough choice. Not really. Hey, Grandma, what way is it to Sentinel Hill?
Are you going to approach the old lady?
Yeah.
No?
Yes, yeah. Why would I have said that?
I thought you said nah.
Oh, I said yeah.
All right.
Yes, please. Thank you.
The old lady tears your eyes out and you die. Normal to imagine. You take a few steps towards the old lady, which prompts her to stop walking. Good afternoon, ma'am. I was wondering if you could help me. You see, I'm not from around these parts, and you don't say, answers the woman, cutting you off. Her head is bowed. Her heavily lined face remains fixed in the path in front of her feet, but you can see her eyes and heavy brow rise to look at you. What do you ask her? Are you going to tell her you're looking for Sentinel Hill? Ask if she can direct you? Or do you want to inquire about the town and the absence of people?
Ooh. Oh, I mean, both, but we're here for Sentinel Hill. Ma'am, could you give me directions, please?
Here we go. Da, 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 da. I'm looking for Sentinel Hill. You see, I read about this old house up there and wanted to take a look. You pause to allow the woman to respond. She lifts her head slightly, looks you in the eye, but remains silent. You see, I couldn't find it on a map, but I read it was close to Durham. You continue, her stare making you feel slightly on edge. You're about to continue further when she speaks up suddenly. Sentinel Hill, you say? What would your business be with that old place, huh? What is your response? Do you tell her you write an article about the murders 10 years ago? Do you tell her you're curious because you're thinking of moving out of the city? Or do you ask her why the town is so quiet?
I don't think there's any reason to be honest with this woman. So I'm going to say...
It's potential love interest.
Yeah. Hey, Grandma, you want me to rattle those dentures out of your head? You know what? I'm going to ask her about the... I'm actually going to ask her about the town. Why is it so empty around here? Yeah, she will either know or lie beautifully. That is true, but I do want to ask her... Presumably, after asking her about the town, I'll get the opportunity to ask her about Sentinel Hill again.
Unless she tries to tear your eyes out.
Unless she tries to tear my eyes out.
You inquire about the lack of people around. She is the only person you've seen. She lifts her head and then looks you up and down. Being a city fella, you must think every place to be full of people flapping around and bumping into each other. Not here.
I've never heard flapping around.
People about doesn't mean they want to be eyeballed by strangers. If it'd be unsettling for you, how about get on back to the mobs? She seems indignant and starts to shuffle away, mumbling to herself. You realise she hasn't told you how to get to the hill. You attempt to ask her, but she waves you away, saying you're best leaving her well alone. So what will you do now? Will you enter the garage to ask her there? Are you going to call it a day and look for lodgings to get a fresh start in the morning? Or you can return to your car and drive on. Perhaps there'll be some sort of sign to point in the right direction towards the hill.
Let's get into the garage.
Hope
that old lady spit some dog shit. Where do you keep going? What is this?
What?
Where do you keep going every sentence you stand up? Where are you going?
I'm trying to add tension. So you're going to get in the car and drive on?
Yeah, we'll get into the garage. I mean, that was where we're going to
go.
You
go into the garage or you get into your car and driving on?
No, garage, into the garage.
Garage? It's kind car?
No. Into the garage, because that was the original goal anyway. Where this old lady was just this distraction.
The door to Pete's garage is old and battered looking. The once white paint, cracked and peeling, reveals a dull grey wood underneath. Do you know what? This is so much better written than the ones you've read before, isn't it?
Ian Livingstone was really phoning them in.
It was. A heavy rusted padlock is attached to the frame of the door. The latch is open and bent out of shape from a countless number of nightly lockups. Hello? You call out. No answer. The window appears to have several years' worth of grime on it, making it impossible to see inside. You step inside, the door creaking all the way, and you enter a dusty, dry room. Motes float through the air, illuminated by what slivers of light can make it through the filthy windows. A long counter runs through the centre of the room, dividing it in two. On your side, the room is bare. On the other side, there's more clutter than your grandmother's attic.
This place is dirtier than my grandma's toilet seat.
Rotting cardboard boxes stand in one corner, stacked precariously and leaning away from the paint-peeled walls. A battered-looking chair sits in the opposite corner, and various knickknacks, car parts, empty bottles, old overalls, and pieces of newspaper lie strewn about the rest of the place. The counter is bare, save for a small service bell. Do you want to ring the bell for service, or do you realise you won't get any help here and leaves the garage?
I am. This is bizarre. Have you it's something on a scale and it's like slowly falling, and every time you finish a sentence, you got to go and push it back up?
I do, absolutely. That's it, yeah.
I would like to ring the bell.
Ring the bell for service.
Garçon, cervezas, por favor.
I wasn't aware of the fact that I was kind of doing it, but now I'm going to do it every question.
Yeah, you just leave me to sit here and think
I'm
about
leaving
things
you for 5 seconds.
I have abandonment issues.
What's that?
I said I have abandonment issues.
Clearly. Do you know, actually, I've read books on that. I've read books on abandonment issues. And it can seriously affect your adult life. And I apologise if me nipping off screen for what is 2 seconds at a time.
Yeah, well, do you know what? I just feel betrayed. Honestly, I feel like I can't rely on you anymore.
I don't want to actually kind of. I feel like I'm kind of ruining the illusion about giving you the choice, but I'm just basically taking a sip of my tea every time.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Personal experience has been so many times we've been doing.
I just was confused by it.
Yeah, no, there's been times. Usually, when we do every week when we do Tight 10, I knock over my cup of tea.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, I know. I try. Here we go. We peek behind.
You've just been styling it out for 6 seasons.
Yeah. So I've usually knock over my tea that Morgan brings me with my knee. I usually knock over every time. So I've now got it kind of at a table that's just slightly out of sight, because honestly, I'm just sick of knocking it over. And I wasn't aware of the fact that it was having that much of an impact on you. What I'll do for next week is have the table here so that I can just do that. But
just have it next to you.
I will have it next
to you. It amazes me. We've been doing this for well over a year right now, and it's taken you this long to move your tea to somewhere you're not going to knock it over.
Well, sometimes I drink alcohol.
That's true, yeah. And then you don't need to worry about knocking that over.
I don't need to worry about knocking alcohol over because it's always in my hand.
Yeah.
But, so there you go. So we peek behind
the curtain. Sippy cup, yeah. A wee sippy cup of tea.
Imagine me, Tommy. You ring the bell with the palm of your hand twice. Ding, ding, prick. Looking over the counter, you see a door set into the wall on the left. Perhaps the attendant is in there. You're about to ring the bell again when you hear a creak of the front door behind you. You turn and see a heavy-set man, possibly in his late 50s, standing in the doorway. He's wearing dirty blue overalls with Pete written across the breast. "Yep, what you needing, sir?" he says, wiping his hand on an oily rag. How will you respond? Do you tell me you're looking for directions to Sentinel Hill, or do you inquire about why the town is so quiet?
Pete. Pete the Garage Man. Enchanting. I would like to ask him the directions to Sentinel Hill.
Good call. Imagine if you just keep asking people why the town's so quiet, they'll just get pissed off at you.
Yeah, it seems like that's a no-go. That's a taboo subject.
Maybe this is too. We'll find out. You ask about the way to Sentinel Hill. Ah, the old hill. House is still up there too. Nasty business that. A blight on the landscape, if you ask me. I haven't been out that way in years, but I'm sure it's even worse now. He looks up and down for a moment and then continues. You a friend of that other chap? Him that drives the truck? He asks, his almost persistent smile fading away. Not reading your confused expression, he continues. Another fella, much older than yourself, mind. He's been up at that house, ages ago now, doing some work or whatever. Mr. Smith. Never did catch his first name.
Peabody.
Each time I see him, he's less friendly again, looking the worse for wear. Still, he's been hearing back, giving me the business, filling his truck, I mean. So I won't push those and want to be secretive. Do you wish to reply that you don't know who the man is and ask again for directions? Or do you lie and say the man's a colleague of yours and you're due to visit him up at the house but lost the directions that he has given you?
He doesn't seem to like him, but directions, I don't want to lie. Not because I got anything against lying, just because he doesn't seem to like him.
So you're going to say you don't know who the guy is?
I don't know who he is. I think he's Peabody, to be honest, but
possibly. You explain to Pete that you don't know anyone out here and require directions because you're curious about the house due to the murders 10 years ago. You some kind of reporter? He says, suddenly suspicious. No, nothing like that. I'm just interested in the stories. He hesitates before continuing. If and you're asking me, there's no way, no how, some young lad went and killed his own family in that way. I heard they were missing stuff, like the insides, eyes, and whatnot. A boy does that to his family, pull the other one. He looks up, clearly thinking hard. I'm sorry, but I can't properly remember. I think if you take the left fork for sure, but the path to the house is overgrown. The path to the house has been overgrown for years, so I don't right remember exactly where it is. Most folk that need help with the vehicles stay in the main roads. You thank him all the same, looking around the town. Evening is fast approaching. It's time for you to be going on your way. You thank Pete once again for his help, and you drive away. I like the atmosphere of this.
Mm-hmm.
We've got fucking nowhere.
Tongue to it than the others.
Yeah. It's almost 6 p.m. as you're rolling slowly along the leaf-strewn road through the woods, keeping an eye out for the house. The evening is fast approaching, and the low sun is now obscured by dark clouds. Overhanging trees are in cahoots with the clouds, darkening the evening more as they form a tunnel that envelops the road. You switch on the headlight to improve visibility and prevent you from missing any telltale signs of the house's whereabouts. The road starts to slope upwards as you enter the hills that stretch across this side of Durham town. A few minutes pass when you arrive at a fork in the road. The trees and brambles are thick, knotted together as though one wants to strangle the other. Even the electric lights from your car can't penetrate them to the other side. Protruding twigs and tree branches scrape off the car every few feet. There's no signpost at the fork. Do you wish to take the left fork or the right fork?
I'm going to have to take a left. Thanks, Pete.
Pete did say the left, didn't he? So you're going to go left?
Yeah. Do you think if I had said that guy was my colleague, he would have went, go right?
Who knows? I also think that in this one, do you remember we usually do deleted scenes?
Yeah.
In this one, since you may be in situations where you're going back to the beginning of your investigation,
Yeah, we shouldn't do that.
I don't think we should do that.
I
So
agree.
we'll maybe find out next time. You take the left fork, the road getting a little bumpier. You soon arrive at another junction. Do you wish to continue straight on or turn right?
Is this the point where we should do a cliffhanger?
Oh,
I'm just
you
thinking
tell
because
me.
we've hit the hour mark.
We have hit our mark. Yeah, maybe we should. Maybe this is a cliffhanger.
So what's my choice?
Your choice is to continue straight on or take a kind of sharp right.
Okay, straight on. All right. I'm actually gonna write the cliffhanger down each time we do this for this one.
Yeah.
So I can ponder it through the week.
I quite like the atmosphere of this one.
It's way different. I am gonna look up. Oh shit! I'm gonna look up if there's a way we can play music through StreamYard, and I'm gonna look up for license-free sort of atmospheric music. Obviously, we can't use the music that was intended for this game. There's bound to be something we can use that's what's the royalty free? That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, royalty free stuff. No, that's quite good. It's really weird that I would be able to read out the Lovecraft stories because they're now. I can actually just sit here and read out the stories, but we can't do any kind of other Lovecraft related stuff without infringing copyright.
Yeah, that's right. They're but he's now off of.
He's out of.
What's the term? In the public domain.
Copyright is in the public domain now.
Yeah, we own it. Everybody owns it.
I enjoyed that. I enjoyed
great,
that.
yeah.
Probably anybody watching for the comedy element that we usually have might have been found slightly wanting.
Yeah, but that'll evolve. I mean, I say it'll evolve. It's from a show out of 3 years ago. Damn, who's still checking?
Well, do you remember we got a copyright violation on this show for this once?
Which cannot be copyrighted, or if it is copyrighted, like why?
It's one of the video clips that are bolted on to StreamYard for the show, and we got a copyright violation for that.
I got a copyright violation for it wasn't a copyright violation, it was just a copyright nudge because I used Left Bank 2 by the novel tones, do 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 do. That one. I used about 7 seconds of it, and they said there's no action, but they just didn't. There wasn't even a don't do it again. They were just like, this doesn't affect. It means that if ever that video made profit, that Left Bank 2 could claim the profit. That's it. They didn't ask me to cease or anything.
No cease or desist.
They just said that you don't own this, so if it makes money, it didn't make money. So no worries.
Any new viewers tonight? This is in actual fact a comedy show. Chris and I geeked out and we got caught up in the kind of
the atmosphere
of it. And
atmosphere.
Yeah. Do you remember Atmosphere?
I do, yeah. I do. I remember having a buddy back home that always used to want me to come around to his to play Atmosphere.
We've got a whole. We'll talk. Next week we'll talk about Atmosphere for 40 minutes before we'll talk about it, because that's what there's previous episodes available that I feel. Do I get too caught up in this?
Yeah, no, I don't think getting too caught up is a bad thing. I
don't think it's a bad thing either. But I'm also worried that people kind of go, "Oh, there's this comedy stream," and we come on and the two of us just geeked out. Went, "Oh, Professor Peabody!"
Well, that would be different if they were watching Type 10 on Titan, but they're actually watching Type 10 tickles.
That's true. There you go.
Me too. I'm looking forward to the proper cosmic horror elements coming in, because right now it's just weird people.
I'm gonna use this episode as my. It's basically going to be my. It's going to be my evidence for my CV for becoming an audiobook reader.
Yeah, use it as your voice reel. Yeah.
I can do my voice reel. I can basically do oh my God, and hey, you're not from around here, boy, or crotchy old, hey, I'm an old lady.
Yeah, get proper, get the proper Southern voices in.
So there you go. This has been my voice reel.
This whole episode has been your audition.
This whole episode has been my audition. And scene.
And then it's like you just let the belly out like that, but Taysiders in space. Action.
So that's been the first episode of our cosmic horror season.
Tight 10. Tickles.
So I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed it. Anyone watching it apart from Lucy probably didn't enjoy it, but I had a really good time.
Excellent time.
So we're into it now.
We properly started.
Next week we'll do 40 minutes on mystery beers and then 20 minutes of cosmic horror.
We don't even have time. We don't even have time to get into mystery beers.
Exactly, I know.
Nightmare. We'll get it next week.
6 minutes in, we'll find it. I'll finally tell you. Do you know? I'll tell you who bought me the mystery beers before I finish the mystery beers. That's my guarantee. Okay.
Yeah, that works for me.
Cool. In the meantime, this is the end of episode 1 of season 7 of Tight 10 Tickles. It's been Chris Ashworth.
This has been John Carruthers.
Good night.